Hello, Moon to Moon. Welcome back. Today, I have a very special conversation for you. It's a conversation with the creator, Arizona Smith. Arizona Smith is one of the 13th readers for the Magician's Table 2026, returning for its sixth year now this spring. This is the fourth conversation of four that I'm having with each of the 13th readers for this year's Magician's Table, so that all of you who are considering applying can attune to each of the four 13th readers as you begin to constellate towards the cohort that you want to be in. The choice of your cohort has huge consequences on your life. Each cohort is going to be really, really different, even between the two cohorts that are held by Arizona Smith, because Arizona is the only 13th reader this year who's doing two cohorts. So if you're new to Moon and to me and to the Magician's Table, let me just speak a little bit about this. So the Magician's Table is a 3-month container. It's a massive catapult onto a different timeline. The Magician's Table reorganizes your relationship to your magic completely and utterly. And it is simultaneously a deep reckoning with yourself, like a real confrontation with the truth of how magical you are. And yes, how you do indeed, in fact, have magic to share. Your voice matters, and participating with that voice matters. And it's also at the same time a deep confrontation with your relationship to community, to group magic, to being seen, and to seeing others very clearly in the truth of our magic, the impacts of it. We're dead fucking serious about that here. This is a place where you have to confront the fact that what you're bringing matters, and it feels really good to the people who receive it. So the confrontational aspect of the Magician's Table is felt through the whole promo. It's a rare person who just kind of like lightly, whimsically wants to join without having to go through some level of resistance. Like the resistance to saying yes and applying and all their like reasons that come up why like maybe I won't, maybe I can't. Um Not this year, not for me. That is all actually the part of the trajectory of the medicine. And whatever you may be going through as you're feeling into it is like part of the whole thing. Like this prelude to beginning is included in the whole of the thing. Even people who never sign up are getting something of the experience in being with the promo and feeling into it and getting into the edges of themselves where they're wondering if this could be for them. So, welcome all of you to that experience. In the Magician's Table, there are cohorts of 12 magicians. Each participant we call a magician. And then in the cohorts are facilitated by a 13th reader. The 13th reader is both facilitating and participating. They're a leader and they're a peer because in between the weekly meetups, everybody's partnering and you partner with your 13th reader and exchange readings with them, just like you exchange readings with your fellow magicians. So, whoever's cohort you end up joining, you will be receiving a reading from that 13th reader and you will be giving that 13th reader a reading. And this is edgy for both of you. So that's part of the reasons why it's really powerful to feel into the energy of each 13th reader. And in your application, you're able to pick the cohort you want. You're able to name like first choice, second choice, third choice, or you may be like, Britten, can you pick for me? I can do all of them. I'm open to coincidence. Some of you may only be able to pick one because of time zones and just trust that that's the one you're meant for. Nobody ever leaves like, I wish I'd been in that other cohort. Because it's not only the 13th reader that you're constellating towards each other in your group because whatever is that magic in the resonance of that is then what is felt when you get there. And I do personally feel that there are very deeply mysterious reasons why 13th readers become 13th readers, why magicians came to that particular cohort, how everyone finds each other, how you find the magician's table at all. It's like deep mystery. And every year that I hold this, I anchor deeper into just trusting how magical this is. It's fair to say that the magician's table may be the most magical thing that I know. That's saying a lot. I do feel that about my connection to my boyfriend Matt, to my daughters. Like it's like a major life experience of the truth of magic being real. And frankly, everyone who leaves feels the same way. So, Arizona, who you'll be hearing from today, is one of those 13th readers that was not previously a magician. Often the 13th readers that are called in have been through the magician's table as magicians. But starting last year, I broke that tradition when I strongly felt the names of Shahir and Tegan to come in as 13th readers. And I've shared about like what a wrangling that was within myself in other episodes, encouraging you to go back and listen to the Tegan episode on the lore of the magician's table, especially if you're newer here, listening to the Shahir episode, the Lily episode, and the Leanne episode. So this year's 13th readers, Shahir has not been a magician, but Shahir was the 13th reader last year. And then Leanne and Lily were both magicians last year. Happened to be in Shahir's cohort. And then Arizona has not been a magician or a 13th reader before. So Arizona just has been coming in I probably always known at some levels since Arizona first reached out to me. That's how these webs are really powerful. There's just this sense of like, I know our paths are going to be together at some point, but I don't know when. And then just trusting in the unfolding, just trusting that we're not in a battle with time. Time is supporting us according to absolutely perfect timing. We will know. And that ends up being a theme in my conversation with Arizona, which we recorded. I guess it was yesterday. Time is very strange right now. um, yeah. So before I introduce Arizona, I want to say a few things. I want to invite you to the dream reel. I talk a lot about it in the intro to the last episode with Leanne. So encouraging you to hear me talk more about it there. But I talk about how we're meeting up. It's a free gathering. It's a global spell on February 20th. That's a Friday coming up soon when we have the Saturn Neptune conjunction at 0 Aries. Wow. In that hour, we are doing magic together. I'm not just like chatting with you and you are able to just sit back and listen. Like we are all coming together to cast spells for ourselves and for our world. Personal, collective dream realization spells. It's going to be hyper magical, very high sensation, very exciting, very fun, very playful, also dead serious. We're dead serious about sincerely supporting magic in our worlds. That's what we're doing. That's what the Magician's Table is about. It's like dead serious about sincerity. So I'm inviting all Magician's Table alums to come back. We're going to stand together in our web. We're inviting anybody who wants to come play with us, including all the 2026 magicians who are constellating. So the way to get the link to join this free event is simply to be on the 2026 waitlist. Everybody needs to be on the waitlist to get the link. The waitlist does not obligate you to apply to the Magician's Table, but it is the only way to apply to the Magician's Table. So come on in. We are gathering together. We're going to boost each other's dream into realization because collective group magic is more powerful than singular magic. Singular, your personal magic can be massive. This is very true. And it gets amplified when we get together. It's just true. So that's what we're doing. So in the show notes, you'll see a link for joining the wait list and learning about the Magician's Table. All the buttons at the Magician's Table course page just take you to the wait list. You're just putting your email in, and that way I can then email you the link to come to the dream reel, and then I will be emailing you 2 days later to when the applications open, February 22nd to March 4th. This is the last piece I want you to hear me say so that you feel informed. Everything is first come, first serve for the Magician's Table. So there's only 12 seats per cohort, per time slot. They're all different time slots. If you really want a particular 13th reader and you really need a particular time slot, it's extra important to apply ASAP on February 22nd. We have very magnetic 13th readers this year with their own communities, with their own audiences. I don't know what will happen, but if you want this, please sign up the day that the application's open so that you can definitely reserve your spot because it's first come, first serve. It's not based on merit, like some kind of hierarchy of like who's a better magician than somebody else. It has nothing to do with that. The application has nothing to do with that. It's about resonance, whether you're new to holding space for another person because we're sharing holding space with each other and partners, or you've been doing this for decades. None of that really matters here. It's a non hierarchical space. We're in circle and we're all human beings and we all have wisdom. That's what we're bringing through. So you'll want to get your application in the day it opens to reserve your cohort and also to pick your tuition. There's 5 levels of tuition to our scholarship. A third of the seats are going to scholarship seating. So that's all going to be in the order received. So please get your applications in early so you can commit to your tuition and reserve it. And then, yeah, in that whole week, I'll just be running through the applications, getting in touch with you. Then you can get in and then you can get seated in plenty of time to ground and anchor before we have our initiation weekend, which would be like the second weekend of March, the middle of March. And then we begin. So let me introduce Arizona Smith. Arizona Smith, she, her, is an artist and healer who works ceremonially with the tarot, talismanic artworks, and energetic healing. She is the author of the Purple Diamond Tarot and the Book of Love, an oracle deck for emotional healing, and draws on decades of experience exploring creativity, divination, and subtle energy work. Her practice is rooted in ritual, symbolism, and an attunement to unseen currents, guiding individuals to reconnect with their wild inner power and innate capacity to self heal. Through one on one sessions, events, retreats, and teaching, she creates immersive spaces for exploration and transformation, where insight, imagination, and embodied wisdom come together, offering clarity, resonance, and a renewed sense of possibility. Arizona's website is arizonasmithhealing.com, and at Instagram, she is Arizona Smith Healing, all one word. So Arizona is hosting 2 Wednesday cohorts at 9 a.m. and 12 p.m. Eastern. 9 a.m. and 12 p.m. Eastern on Wednesdays. So if that's what works best for you, I'm encouraging you especially to tune in here because Arizona is the 13th reader for those cohorts and she'll be exchanging readings with you. Arizona calls in from London. So these times are especially supportive to all the European magicians that may be coming in. But really, like, there are people in Asia, Australia who might be able to make that 9 a.m. And then it there's times that might work for everyone in the Americas. So pretty much everyone, I think, might be able to consider one of those 2 cohorts, 9 a.m. Eastern and 12 p.m. Eastern. All right. This is a very, very magical conversation. You can feel us just like, whew, like drop in. I'm excited to share it with you now. Enjoy. Welcome to Moon, Arizona Smith. So great to see you here.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, I'm inviting you on as 13th Reader 2026, The Magician's Table. Thank you so much for saying yes.
Oh, I'm so excited.
I like to begin by helping listeners orient to how we're connected as human beings. And I think it was a year and a half or so ago that you reached out to see if you could mail me your tarot deck, which I have right here. Thank you so much for that gift.
I just felt an instant connection to you and your work and a pleasure and yeah, a gift to be able to send it to you.
Tell me when, do you remember how you found my name?
I think we have friends in common. I think you've worked with Nicole Providence, who
Yes.
and I think that's how I found you.
Oh, wonderful. A lot of people have found me through Nicole. Nicole has a lot of webs. Thank you, Nicole.
Mm. Mm.
Well, I'd love to learn more about you today. We haven't spent a whole lot of time together, even though I've been observing you and appreciating learning with you through your Instagram for a long time now. I'd love to hear you talk some about who you are in this moment and like what's coming through you, what's important to you, what you're stewarding, what you're creating. Who are you in 2026 so far, do you feel?
That's such a great question because there's so many answers. Love the wide.
Great.
I always start by saying I'm an artist because I feel like that's kind of like a way of seeing and experiencing more than necessarily a job, although it has also been my job for a long time now. Um, and and I've got quite comfortable with the word seer in the last year because I've been doing a lot of work or work has been coming to me around um, gaze and the eyes and how we see things and the lenses that we speak to the world and are spoken to in the world and how we can kind of shift those. Um, so I work across divination and healing and then also creating artworks and some of those are ritual tools or ritual artworks that are really purposefully infused with ceremony and dreaming and journeying and some of them are um I was thinking this morning, I was like, my two biggest influences are like Jung and then Studio Ghibli.
That's amazing.
Like that kind of sums up my art, like really kind of joyful and fun, and intuitive, or kind of like super deep and snaky. And
What are your favorite movies?
Totoro is my absolute.
Ah, yes.
I love Totoro. There's an amazing play of Totoro on in London at the moment. I don't know if it's going to come to US, but it's like everyone cries, like grown-ups, children, everyone cries at this play.
Oh my goodness. I don't think I've heard that. I did get to go when I went to Tokyo to it's like their world, like Disney World.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah, that's amazing. I just saw this anime. I shared it with my boyfriend. It's finally streaming, but you might really like it, called Wolf Children. And
Mm.
we were both taken by the Totoro resonances. Oh, I love it. I'm gonna be feeling for that in your work right now. Well, continue. You were speaking.
Yeah. Um, yeah, so I'm kind of inhabiting the world across in a kind of magical state a lot of the time. Um, the last year, 2 years, I've been doing a lot of land healing. A lot of dreams from the land has have come to me, and I think that's going on for a lot of people right now, where the land is really waking up and speaking and saying, "Hey, come and be in awareness over here and see what that awareness can maybe shift." Um, so yeah, I've been doing a lot of kind of trips to just meeting with and learning to listen to the land again, and connecting with animals, really connecting with crow specifically in the last year, 2 years. Um, I am currently writing a book that I haven't spoken about at all, but it is um, kind of me channeling with the crows around the
Oh,
major arcana. So a sort of parable from the crows for each of the major arcana cards and archetypes. And that's really, really, I mean, it's just like an honor to be with the crows in that way. And yeah, so I'm kind of deep in that at the moment. And then my new Oracle deck has just come out. I just got the test deck today, which is so exciting. And that
Wow.
that's based on inner child healing. But when I was looking at inner child healing, I was like, there's not enough archetypes. There's only, a few archetypes for the different types of children in kind of psychotherapy. So I really dreamt in to more archetypes for the children, and some of them are quite similar to adult archetypes, like the warrior or the healer. But I really thought about how in the child experience, maybe being the warrior, like isn't as great, brings up more problems than it might if we wanted to embody the warrior as an adult. So there's the inner children that I've kind of dreamt in, and then there's helping archetypes and tools and practices, which are also cards in the deck. And that has been such a trip making this deck. I normally work quite fast, and it's been 4 years because I just had to like get my ass kicked. I had to go through enough healing to be able to bring it through. So it's a big deal for today to be the day that the test deck arrives, and that's like, really being birthed right now.
It is a really big birth. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. And then my other deck, which is the one I sent you, and is what kind of started me really officially working in this world 6 years ago, the Purple Diamond deck, and that is based on the Purple Diamond, which I can get into in a longer form, but an energy that I have been seeing and been being with since childhood. Um, and another initiation. I joke with my friends that if I draw anything in a card shape in a rectangle, I have to go through the initiation.
Wow. Well, I'd love to hear more about that if you don't mind us going there next. So, because I was curious, like when your art seership, reading, healing pathways intersected, but sounds like quite young there was something very magical going on for you.
Yeah, I think I've kind of been in a slightly other realm in the Totoro realms, in the Jungian Totoro realms forever. Yeah, as a kid, I was having kind of what I might term now as medicine dreams. I was having big dreams that were quite shamanic in nature. Again, a word I'm putting on it now that I didn't have then. A lot about animals and land and kind of strange healings and dimensional travel. Um, Again, with now words, I was seeing auras, I was seeing colors and shapes around people when I was young. Um, and one of the shapes that I saw a lot was the purple diamond. And there's this particular one morning that I woke up on my bunk bed at the top. Um, and I was probably about 4 or 5, and the purple diamond was there taking up the entire space between kind of me and the ceiling. And I was just, the feeling of being so deeply seen was so like nothing else I'd experienced before that it almost made me feel a little bit nauseous. It was like it was just so like completely being seen by this light, by this thing. Um, I I didn't know how to work with it. I didn't know what it was that just kind of happened, and I didn't know, anything about it for a long time. And occasionally I'd see it, and then it went away completely in my early teenage years. And then in my early 20s, when I was starting to really like try and practice magical, mystical things kind of on purpose, it slowly started coming back. And I was reading everything like, what's the purple diamond? I couldn't find any reference to anything like it. I found the violet flame, which was helpful. I found a few things, but they weren't quite it. So I was trying to do these journeys where I was trying to like pop through it, seeing if it was a portal. I was trying to talk to it, and I just popped through the other side. Nothing ever worked until finally it kind of came in a dream and showed me me in many past lives with the diamond in lots of different forms. So as a woven hanging and artworks and energy and all different things. And it was it's kind of not anything to do with me, and somehow at the same time, it's a reflection of my energy across lifetimes. And with this dream came this big opening to make the deck, and then I got out of the blue, I got a commission to hand paint the major arcana for a private collection, and those people that ordered that deck didn't mind if I extended that into a larger deck, and that's how it happened.
Oh, wow, how cool. You're I think you're gonna love this. Right before we got on, I pulled Who Am I in This Moment? And I got the
Uh,
Four of Swords, which shows someone in bed with the purple diamond over them.
ha.
So now I'm like, is this connected to the that moment for you?
Yeah,
Or
you know,
moments like it?
this card to me is a lot about kind of there might be an impetus to act or even fix sometimes. Um, but it's like reserve your energy a little bit because there's much more coming and it's going to make sense soon. The pieces are falling into place in a divine way, and there's no human action you need right now. And that's what kind of happened. We want to make meaning so quickly as humans, don't we? In at least in our society, I think. And the purple diamond took me, like 20 years. And that's such a teaching for me about sometimes omens really need time, and signs really need time sometimes.
Wow. I really needed to hear. You just gave me a reading. Thank you. Because that contextualizes a lot of things for me right now. That's so cool. Wow. So you had this opportunity. It was like everything opened for you to make something and then make more of it, it seems like, through that commission.
Yeah, yeah. And then there's a kind of other part to this with another piece of the story, which is I think it's 2024. It's around the time I messaged you about the deck actually, because I took a photo of a street that was called Britten Street and sent it to you. And that I was where I was then, as I was walking to the hospital to get a check about my migraines, and they were like, "Hey, let's do an MRI just to be safe. You know, who knows?" And he was like, there's nothing wrong, but we're going to do it to be sure." And they found a mass on my pineal gland, and they were like, "We don't know what it's made of. It could be a lot of things. Whatever it's made of, it may need to come out. Mean a brain surgery, but go back downstairs, book another scan where they put ink to see if where there's blood flow. We're not rushing you, but like book it within a week." And I was like, I need more time. I'm gonna give myself 2 weeks. I booked it in 2 weeks, and in those 2 weeks, I did all the ceremony I could. I tried to move it. I, did all the things, but I didn't know. And in the middle of this 2 week period, I had just started making friends with the crows. I just started going to feed them. And I was in a different park. I wasn't with my crows. They didn't know me. Middle of the day, London. Crow lands right on my head, and Crow's little claws, just so gently, like a millennial kind of like hair scratcher, head massager, just scratch the top of my head. And I'm like, has anyone else seen this? Like, what just happened? And I start walking, and it happens again. And I'm like, wow. And I'm crying. Like, it's like this blessing. And then the crows walk away, fly away. And then I'm walking, and then one more time it happens. And then that night I go to a reading actually of Martin Shaw, which I'd got tickets for my partner's birthday. And Martin Shaw reads his version, which is gorgeous, of The Handmaid's Tale.
Wow.
And in his version, she's in the woods, she's finding herself, and the crow lands on her head 3 times. And I'm sitting in the back like, ah! And then I go to get the results. And I'm definitely banking that's going to be okay because I'm teaching a tarot course right after. And if I'd got really bad news, that would be really tough. But I'm like, I'm not canceling my plans. I'll go and see. And he's like, never seen this before. I've been a neurologist for 40 years. The cyst or the mass is completely gone without a trace. Obviously, the pineal gland is obviously, not obviously, but often thought of as a kind of blue or purple ore and connected to the third eye, which is also often thought of as purple. So I was thinking about the purple diamond, and then it hit me. I've told the purple diamond story so many times because of the deck. And what I never thought was relevant was that the reason I woke up and saw the diamond hovering over my bed was because my aunt and my cousin were staying on the bottom bunk and they'd woken me up. They were chattering in the hallway and they'd woken up because a crow had flown into our room and done a poo on their duvet. So who knows what else the crow was doing in the room, but there's this connection between the two.
Whoa. Oh my gosh. This like you need to go on the telepathy tapes. Have you heard of the telepathy tapes?
I love it. Yeah.
What an incredible story.
Oh, thank you. And it's still unfolding. I think,
Yeah.
it's yeah, I don't fully know what it means, but I'm happy to find out really slowly and just be guided and led, I guess.
Oh my gosh. Did your migraines go away?
Not fully, but a lot, really a lot.
Hmm. The world is a magical place. Now I really want to ask you about these other cards that I pulled.
Okay, let's do it.
Well, I for our conversation, the Nine of Pentacles.
Ah, that's such a nice card. That's a great card. I mean, what could be better than that?
There's this big basket of fruit on a table with a big candle and a piece of cake, perhaps.
Yeah, we've got cake, we've got everything we need.
Everything we need,
We've got
and a
art.
art in the background, and two chairs.
Yeah, yeah, that's us. In the spirit realm, that's where we are right now. Yeah, and I that color pink, when I see it in the aura, for me, it means like almost like fertility, but potential. Lots of potential for new love or connection or kind of for nexus points of all kinds.
Oh, so great. Speaking of points, I pulled up your chart. Is it okay if I mention anything about your chart?
Of course.
Um, and your ascendant is right on my moon in Capricorn, and your moon in Capricorn is right on my midheaven.
That's so funny.
So we have these connections.
Yeah.
Your Venus in Pisces is within a degree of my Mercury in Pisces too.
Uh, nice connections.
But yeah, that's us and what we're doing right now. That's so sweet. And then I pulled what can I bring to support our time together? And I got the Nine of Cups, which
Oh,
this
amazing.
woman is like pouring these vessels of water over her head with her eyes closed. Yeah, is there a personal story with this one or anything you'd want to share?
This one is I often describe it as like dousing yourself in Chanel number 5. It's really, really luxuriating, really like Venetian beautifying, just like sensual enjoyment. Um, yeah, I feel like this card often comes up when there's a push to enjoy the visual even more as well. Like it's that like push to be like get your outfit like really on point today, like really enjoy the pleasure of being embodied.
Mm, yeah, I really feel that. And it is such self-love
Mm.
when I have that feeling. Um, So there's kind of like an audacity piece for me too.
Mm.
Oh, and there's the purple diamond above her head
Yeah,
with her.
yeah, in connection, connected to source and still so embodied and enjoyment. And it is, you're right, that audacious big energy.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I get to give this to myself.
I've been thinking a lot, like a lot of my recent kind of initiations or understandings are that we need to just keep blessing ourselves constantly. Like instead of maybe an older paradigm of sending out energy or sending out healing, sometimes for me it's been working better to be sending it to myself and becoming kind of like a lantern and then just
Mm.
being a lantern and moving around the world and allowing that glow to kind of affect people if they want to be affected, if they're ready for it, rather than something more kind of like pew. um and I've been finding that with this deck around the inner child, I've been working a lot kind of across time and sending blessings to different ages in my life. And it's really become kind of clear to me that times in my life where I thought I was perceiving some kind of guide or some kind of hope about keep going, for some reason, keep going, you're going to be okay, or whatever it was in a difficult moment, that was actually me right now sending blessings or going back to my younger self and picking her up and being like, I'm coming to get you, babe, you know?
I do. Thank you. I always get so emotional in the. Have you read Harry Potter? I know it's a very. It's sad to talk about Harry Potter now because the author is so uh, unlikable. But when he sees the Patronus and he thinks it's his dad, and then
Oh,
he realizes it was him, like I just lose it.
mm. Oh, I got shivers. Yeah.
It was his future self. Oh my gosh. Um, or just the self from another dimension. How powerful.
Yeah, because it was us we needed all along, right? It was always us. It wasn't our mom and dad. It wasn't, this outside figure. It wasn't the guru. Like it's you. And that's real. Like it's really been experientially real this last year for me that we do affect ourselves past and future by really loving ourselves in the now.
Yeah, totally. Wow, that is so powerful. So then this new deck can be a friend for that practice.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a big practice about time bending, essentially.
Mm.
And I also
Mm.
really like this concept because it's like there's nothing that you could ever do that could make you damaged, wrong, broken, too far gone, because every single moment is an opportunity to go back and love yourself back into wholeness, back into healing, like however bad it was. Um, and there's so much empowerment in that. And of course, sometimes we need support from guides and people and therapists, and like I'm so for that. And both my decks, I really want them to be empowerments that we also can have these tools where when we're alone in our rooms, we have these interfaces, we have these mirrors, um, and we can really be what we needed in the now and in the then.
Wow. Thank you. That is going to be really exciting. And it's available for pre-order now?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So we'll definitely have the links to both in the show notes. So, I did want to share the last card that came forward as kind of an extra that really wanted to be here, which was the Ten of Pentacles.
Ooh. I'm like, this is such a you card as well. Um, pure, yeah, pure ceremony. I don't know a huge amount about astrology, and what I know about it is like through the tarot. But this card really is very Capricorn to me. An astrologer told me once that the original glyph for Capricorn is a council of seven wise women practicing for the good of the future and the good of the past, which is exactly what we've just been talking about. And that's what this card is doing. It's a lot about feminine lineage and our ability to tap in and honor that the women before us did their best. Even if they got stuff wrong, they did the best they could with the data that they had in those moments. And now we get to take all of that good and magnify it and then pass that on to whoever comes next.
Mm. Yeah, there's this image of a line of or a semicircle of women or femme bodies, and each one has their hands on the shoulders of the one in front of them around like a hearth or a fire pit or some kind of something in the middle with the pentacle. And would you say it's like roses or something around?
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, that's some serious healing, this reconciling with the lineage this way.
Mm.
Hmm. Yeah, I feel like I've been a lot lately of trying to hold where I can soften and surrender and have compassion with where I want to articulate something and like have an edge or a boundary or a name a thing or ask for something um, in order to honor like what needs to be said before I can repair, you know? Speaking about my mom here, but yeah, dancing with that is kind of a daily dance.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I relate to that.
Hmm.
Yeah, and I think for me this has come a lot back to this practice of going and being the one that picks myself up, and that always
Yeah.
has to come first. That can never abandon myself anymore to make other family members or anyone feel more comfortable.
Yeah. I want to hear more about your relationship to the land too. How did you start to feel called to this practice, and like how does it work at a practical level for you?
Um, it's come through dreams.
Hmm.
It's still unfolding. And I think it's going to take years and years and years of kind of building trust and building understanding for me around how to even read the communication that's coming to me in abundance from the land, and is coming to all of us, right? But dreams started coming in, inviting me to or showing me where places on the land are wounded, and those places would communicate and show me what to do, show me what to go. And um, I think that this is coming up for me because um, I have been doing a lot of healing with my body, healing trauma, healing things like the migraines, physical manifestations of trauma in the body, in places where maybe innocence has been affected, which is to me life force. And I think that that is also and has also really happened on the land. And to register the life force, to register the beingness, the animate nature of the land is such a I want to say kind of respectful thing to do, but it's I think just it's honoring of the true reality of all life. And I think that when we honor the true reality, the truth, then things can move. And it's a little bit like what you just said about family, at least for me, where if people aren't able to see the truth of the wound, then how can it be fixed yet? So
Hmm.
my job with the land is to try and fix as little as possible. And I might give offerings, and that I might see in a dream that there's a specific offering to give or whatever. But mostly it's about trying to get my ego really out of the way and just listen. And then I find that it's like almost like an acupuncture needle. I become the needle, which allows in a new energy to leave and come in, and then nature knows exactly what to do. Then, nature jumps into life and it starts moving things again, and the knot is kind of undone and can get braided back into land, and where there's been a blockage is can clear now. And it's like nothing to do with me, it's just I'm in the right place at the right time, being the acupuncture needle.
Wow. Yeah, so you get a sense of where to go and where to stand, like to put
Yeah,
your body.
the first one was specifically ancestral for me. I did a journey with the question, show me the most recent fracture in my lineage that is affecting me now. And sometimes you do a journey and it's really abstract, or you're kind of like, hmm. And this one was like, really clear. I was met with an ancestor who gave me names, gave me dates, took me to another ancestor, took me to a castle, again, names and dates, visuals, and said, your ancestors lived in a castle in Ireland and they've really upset a land spirit. And like this needs attention because this land spirit is like really unhappy. And I went on Ancestry, all the dates checked out, all the ancestors' names popped up. The castle still stands, it's now a hotel. And the dates that I got that the land spirit had been upset was when these ancestors they dug a quarry and they took a lot of stone out of the land to build an extension. And yeah, I mean, that was like a whole big thing. But I was shown the castle, I was shown the castle grounds. Even before I'd seen it on Ancestry, I knew it was like real, real. And I was shown where not to go and where to go. And on this land, it's so old. There's cedar trees that are over 100 years old. There's cedar trees that were there at the time of the fracture with the land spirit. And all these ancestors have walked by and been with. And when I went there, it was exactly how I'd seen it. The turret that I'd met one ancestor in was exactly there. The directions were all right. The lake that I was supposed to not go near was there, and it did. It made me want to throw up if I even looked at it. Um, and then we did this ceremony, which was really just an offering of I'm here now as the kind of flowery head of the current lineage, and it wasn't me, but also I'm here as the representative, and I'm just really sorry. And it wasn't like a blockbuster, like nothing much happened, and I sung and I gave offerings to the land. And then suddenly this kind of thought came in, or this thought, and it was like this carousel of offerings. It was like, do you want fame? Do you want money? You could be this, da, da, da. And I was kind of like, oh no, I'm really just here to say sorry. Um, and then it kind of evaporated and the light just like poured down. The clouds quite literally parted. And it was like the air just changed and everything just felt so clear. And that was it. There was no kind of like words. It was just everything sparkled. And it was the beginning for me of actually really understanding that the land is maybe on a different time scale with us, but that's all we need to do. We just need to go and listen, go and offer our awareness because the land doesn't care about our human things like money and fame or whatever. Or it's energy and it's where we hold awareness. That's really the gift.
Wow. I'm so curious. Do you have any sense for what that carousel of like uh, we'll give you money, we'll give you fame. Like, do you have a sense of like the intelligence of that, like where it came from or what it was?
I think it was the land kind of testing me to see if I was there for my own ego, you know, if I wanted to be there to become a famous healer and have this, or like what was I doing this for? And it so took me off guard that I really like I it wasn't like I thought this is a test, let me pass it. I was kind of like, what's that? And then afterwards was like, thank God I chose the right thing there because I don't know what would have happened.
Whoa. Hmm. That is so beautiful. And so since then, you have this. I sometimes feel like the first of an experience is often it'll like never top, but like how extraordinary the first time is because it's almost like our guides want us to take it seriously and trust it so that all future outings will like really go for it. So maybe you've had more extraordinary experiences or maybe that was the peak, but since then you've been just following the compass that comes through like mostly in the dream realm.
Yeah, I've done two more since then, with other people. So now I'm realizing that it went okay, that one, but actually I realize now it's such a big energy. It was kind of dicey to do that on my own. I took my partner with me actually. He was kind of like a protector. But really it needs to be like multiple people holding that much energy. So yeah, I've been gathering with other people to hold it. I've actually asked for a little bit of a break because I need to integrate. The last one I did was because I'm learning as I'm going, right? The last one I did, I it was so much energy that I came back and I instantly got hit by a car, which is a whole other like crazy and miraculous story, but it was also like, yeah, like also take care of yourself and slow down a bit.
Wow. You're okay?
Yeah, fine. And it was like a whole miraculous thing, I should have been much more hurt. And then, I had a bad knee and that miraculously healed with a journey and it was all fine, but it was a big sign.
When you were younger, did you have a sense that this was the kind of life path you were going to be on? Like
No,
a
I think
teenager, college age?
no. As a teenager, I really shut everything down. Um, like maybe late teens. I didn't know or I didn't think necessarily I'd do it for work, but I was like starting to really like train and look for information and read in my late teens. Um, I thought, at that point I was gonna do journalism or psychotherapy.
Okay. Yeah. So how did you begin to be on a art healing seership path more officially?
Officially. It's one of those things where, when it's so innate, you don't think about it. Like I've always made art, um, to the point that I never even considered really being an artist because it didn't even really occur to me. But I was making art, so I was selling art because, when you're young, you need money, and that's what I was producing. So I was always putting on my own shows and, not for much money, but selling. I'd put, 100 drawings up on the wall on paper and sell them for 20, 30 pounds. Um, and then yeah, I was doing kind of some creative work, but I was reading, and I was doing all these different trainings, energy healing, psychotherapy, Jungian stuff, and shamanic. And it's just I think it's actually still braiding together. more and more and more. But it slowly started to come together, and the tarot was a really big part of that because I went for a tarot reading. I'd never had one before, um, maybe when I was 22 or something like that. And it was like, because it was the visual with the mystic.
Yes. Yes.
And I could see the pictures and I could see how they were creating this story as a jump off point, and kind of the archetypal stories that would make sense to anyone in any time in any culture as these kind of alive beings that we could work with, and I could just feel the kind of the timelessness of them. Um, and that's when I started drawing tarot cards, which is long before I actually got the commission to make this deck. But I was drawing them to understand them.
Okay. And when you pull cards for yourself now, do you use your own deck or do you have other decks you like to use?
Um, for my sessions, I only use my own deck, um, now to be decks. And then for myself, I really like the Kim Kranz Archetypes deck.
Yeah.
Um, and sometimes I've got the Leonora Carrington deck, which I love. Um, Sometimes I might bring in, because I want another voice.
Yeah.
Mm.
My boyfriend Matt has the Leonora Carrington cards on his living room wall, so I get to see them all the time.
I
But
love
I
them.
don't personally practice with them. Yeah, they're so great. Um, yeah, and you like to you teach as well as sessions.
Yeah, I across 2 years I taught Journey Through the Tarot, which was a very in-depth initiatory journey through the major arcana and then the minors in 4 parts. And every session was part lecture about symbols and the card and the energy of it, and then part ceremony. So we would go in and we would do ceremony to activate the part of us that is that archetype in its wisdom and also in its wounding, which is the process I went through to create the Purple Diamond deck. I didn't read anything about tarot until I'd done at least a week's meditation with each card and tried to find where in my experience do I know what it's like? What or do I match with the frequency of being the Empress in her wisdom and the Empress in her shadow? And some of that is obviously really confronting, um, you know, but I wanted an embodied sense of the tarot before I really read up on it and before I shared it and, wrote the guidebook on these cards. And yeah, it was such an initiation. It was such an opening. It was such a gift. So when I teach the tarot, it's based on that. I did then go and read a lot of the more ancient esoterica on the tarot, especially, and then I've picked up more modern stuff as I've gone along and been in this world too. But um, yeah, I mostly it's based on those initial meditations I did with the 78 cards.
Are most of your client community in like near you, like because you do in person or mostly online?
Mostly online. Yeah.
Yeah, me too. I'm curious if for the magician's table, you intend to like use the partnering to workshop a particular offering or to practice with the new deck, or do you have any sense for that yet? It probably will evolve over time.
I think it will. I don't know. There's so many ideas. I think I might practice a few different things. Um, I I'm really working a lot with a kind of collaborative healing, a bit like what I was sharing about being with the land, like how we
Hmm.
can heal with each other by choosing to be in awareness with a particular cell at the same time. And I think it's really helpful when you have another nervous system in the room to do that. Um, I would love to practice that, and then maybe some art readings, and yeah, I'm gonna go to town.
And you're holding two cohorts, so you'll have a lot of practice.
Yeah.
I'm curious if you'd share like how you may have first heard about the magician's table and how your understanding of it is evolving. Because you have not been a magician, so you're coming in really experimenting, just like incoming magicians, not knowing what it's like.
Yeah, I am. I mean, this is kind of how I like to roll, to be honest. I like to come in quite fresh and like, we'll see without too much preconception. I think I shared with you in a voice note, but before you asked me, I was just getting all these signs that the sentence, the words magician's table were just coming up on billboards and coming out of me and my own writing. So I I really feel quite kind of synchronously aligned with it, and I want to be led by the table. I want to see what.
I want to be led by the table. Yeah, um, it's definitely a very magical being, and it has medicine for everyone. So I'm excited to be in collaboration with you as both someone who's helping hold it and also experiencing it at the same time. And it
Yeah.
seems to me like you're the kind of person who is um, always being shaped and adapting to whatever, wherever your medicine is taking you anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like that for me, that's the best way to be out of the head and into the heart some more.
Hmm. What would you say your medicine is?
Um, the short and confusing answer is rain.
Rain?
Yeah.
Tell me.
Um, yeah, the medicine of rain, which again, I'm still learning. I hope to be learning it for the rest of my life. Um, but I'm a Aquarian, so I'm an air sign that has a strong affinity with water, as does rain. And what's really beautiful about rain is that we recycle our water, right? So a raindrop might have been the tear on your beloved's eye, it might have been the sea that you swam in, it might have been the water that you drank, the soup that you drank, whatever, and it goes across time like that. Um, and it carries with it remembering and clearing and cleansing, and that's that's what I'm working with for myself and working on sharing.
Mm, that's so beautiful. Yeah, I was just talking, it reminds you what you're saying reminds me of something that I was talking I have two daughters. One is 16, the other is now gone to Boston. And we're watching Euphoria. People think it's so funny that I'm watching Euphoria with my teen. I don't know if you know this show. It's like young people and drugs, and uh, it's been great because we have these wonderful conversations from topics that come up for the characters. And this one character, the main character, has been in deep grief since the beginning and has had this really rough addiction, um, kind of like not feeling the grief and just wanting to go into a place of death, to be with her dad who had died, which I really resonate with at a personal level. And at the very end, she names that she recognizes she can't doesn't want to keep putting it off anymore and is like feel starting to be sober. And it's like as if for the first time she sees the person opposite her.
Mm.
So meaningful. This friend has like had given up on basically their friendship because the addiction had pulled the main character in so deep that the main character couldn't see her best friend this whole 2 seasons.
Mm.
And in this final moment, it's like she sees her and she sees what her sister has been going through, her friend has been going through, which is a lot. But she hasn't been there for her because she's in her own thing.
Mhm.
And she just says the words that have um have helped her.
Mhm.
And you just feel this whole wash in the room of like being in the humility of like the human experience and letting what you're learning like be an offering to someone else and like letting that rain kind of like be received by someone else. I was sobbing and my daughter's like, "Why are you crying?" So we had this talk about the power of like just seeing someone and like just being able to share something about your experience and how you can't ever know the impacts of your own sharing of your humanity because they're profound. Like this picture of water coming from these different places and like the mystery of that, how it moves from one human to another. And that's what it made me think of. That's such a powerful thing about like a tarot card, for example. You're picturing, and in your new deck, you're picturing something as it's animated through you that probably came to you very mysteriously through many dimensions. And then it is received through some lens by the deck holder, and then maybe they share something to somebody else in their own reading with the cards and it just passes through. Is this what you mean?
This is the magician's table, right? This is what we're going to be doing in the cohorts.
Hmm.
Which yeah, I I just love, and I think that we're moving into a time, a paradigm where this is so important, where of course there can be leaders and there can be people who have spent more time practicing one thing and they have more to share about it. But when we're really ourselves and we're just sharing what's been going on for us, it it makes it a circle rather than a pyramid, right? And it's more empowering because it's not about power over. It's about interconnectivity and the web and this crazy, mysterious kind of recycling, filtration, raining system that we have where, all of our human comings and goings and issues, and the rain is just doing her thing. She's becoming all different types of water and recycling across time and kind of watching us as she goes.
Wow. We're so lucky we get to live on a planet with water.
Right? Yeah. Magic.
Oh, playing at it. Thank you so much. Is there anything you would want to share that we haven't spoken to, or yeah, anything on your heart that would feel completing for you?
Oh, I feel like we could talk for hours. At this time, I knew that when the deck was coming out, I really wanted to be talking about and sharing this deck is it just it's an offering. I don't care about how much money it makes like it's an offering. And I wanted to do another offering that was around innocence. Um, and what's been going on in the world has just aligned to for this to be the perfect time for as many of us as possible. I think as many of us that have capacity and can to be talking about this the guardianship of innocence within ourselves, within the land, the animals, the children, nature, rainbows, all of it. And this deck was prompted by the death of my grandmother in 2022 and an interaction I had with her spirit right after she died, which is another story and is in the deck. But one of the last conversations I had with her, she said truly from her heart and her own experience that love was the answer, but you had to be careful about talking about it because people wouldn't trust you if you talked about love too much. And it just stayed with me, and it was so sad because for so many people, especially I think in past generations, that has been the truth of experience where you just have to get on with it and you have to just do your best, even though that you are receiving certain abuses, overt and covert, especially for marginalized groups, for women, for, not straight white men, right? And I think what needs to happen now is that we honor that that's been going on so long that it became the fabric of reality. And with so many blessings, we blow away those knots. We blow away what has been put up with for so long but was never correct. And we just come back. We come back right now to the love that we are, the innocence that we are.
That's right. That is right. I'm so glad that we have your deck for this. It's really powerful.
Mm,
I can't
thank
wait to have it for
Yeah,
myself.
yeah, I will send you a copy.
Thank you. Well, I guess I'll be seeing you again tomorrow when we have our 13th reader meeting. And um, yeah, is there anything you, as a final word, to say to those coming to the magician's table? Anything you would like to say to them?
Oh, I'm so excited to be in connection with you and to be learning with you and practicing with you and playing with you. And I I know there can be some anticipation about these things when we don't know what's going to happen, and I don't know either. But I when I feel the energy of it, it feels incredibly powerful and with ability to alchemize and transform, but also very, very loving. And I think there's going to be a lot of space to be held in wide arms that can really hold it all.
Hmm. Thank you so much, Arizona.
Oh, so great to be with you. Thank you.
Thank you to Arizona Smith. Thank you to everyone listening. If you resonate with Arizona's voice, I encourage you to connect with her, get her decks. If you're going to be joining the 2026 Magician's Table or you're wondering about it, you're thinking about it, it's you. Sometimes what happens with the Magician's Table is that, and this is just from reports from past magicians over the last 5 years, is there can be this sense of like hearing the call, feeling drawn to the call, feeling attracted and even repulsed by the call of the magician's table, but like thinking that surely it's going to fill up with other people. And then you'll be like, well, that was nice. Good for them. And then it's like, no, it's you. You are the one that's being called. The you being worked on is the signal that this is yours, that you belong here. The course page has so much there. Like it's a little TLDR, but I have all of that there so that you can really feel into it and make a choice based on a lot of information. I encourage you to spend a lot of time reading and rereading everything that's there so that you fully understand what a big deal this is. Like, this is a big deal investment in your life. This is a big deal investment. We're going to hold you to it. You're required to come. So, it once you're in, it doesn't let go of you, you know? It really doesn't let go of you during promo either, you know, because it's just like, rah, there it is. So, would you like to be worked on by the magician's table? And by worked on, I mean alchemized, massaged, confronted with, taken care of, nurtured, loved on? Would you like to find out who you are on the other side? Would you like to have an experience like this to hold dear in your heart for the rest of your life? That's what the magician's table is. If you're thinking about it, inviting you to stay close to the promo, inviting you to come to the dream reel, listen in, stay close, let us talk to you. And please, please reach out if you have any questions at all. Thank you so much. I'll see you at the next one.